know that, for example, like I said, in Spain, if I would leave my stuff, that would be gone in like a millisecond. Like it's not even like a couple of minutes, it would be gone in 30 seconds. I've heard like it's not just tourists or foreigners that get robbed in Spain, for example, it's also Spanish people themselves. 팅아, 저는 오스트리아에서 온 드라가입니다. 반갑습니다. I think I had my first Korean friend that I met at university in England. She introduced me to a lot more Korean culture and to more people. So through her, I got to meet many friends who lived in Korea, or maybe their friends lived in Korea. So she was the one that kind of facilitated a much easier transition for me to go from, Europe to Korea. And I'm very grateful to her. Hannah, if you see this, thank you. So there are neon signs everywhere, right? They're flashing here, there, for restaurants, for salons, for this, for that. And that's something that doesn't really exist in Europe as much, right? Like, for example, I grew up in Vienna, and Vienna is very clean and organized and very old. The architecture is in very old classical style. So restaurants, for example, are always like the ground floor. Whereas in Korea, sometimes you have restaurants on the 5th floor, like you would go there and you'd be like, where is the restaurant? And then you see a little sign that the restaurant is like on the 3rd, 4th floor and things like that, which is something I was like quite surprised with. I was like, wow, you have so many different kinds of businesses on different floors. Those are things that I have never experienced. So in Europe, like the shops or the restaurants are on the ground floor, and then the rest is like buildings where people live in. Seeing all those signs at night, I found it just extremely like exciting, because when I first came to Korea, I was like, oh, I'm in a new country, and I was looking at things, and then the fact that everything was like, just like flashing into my face, and there were like lots of signs, was just, very thrilling. So it was a little bit like overwhelming at the same time, because it was like so much, I didn't know where to focus my attention on. But at the same time, I'm like, wow, I'm in this completely different country that has, such a exciting feel to it. That was one of the things I was extremely surprised when I first came to Korea, is that Korea has such a big nightlife. People love to party, people love to socialize at night, they love to go for food and drinks, and it's not just like one place. So there's like 1차, 2차, 3차, and then you just continue throughout the whole night. So I was very impressed by that, because for example in Serbia, people love to party also like throughout the whole night, and you party till 7 a.m. and things like that. And then I came to Korea and it was the same, and I was like, wow, I didn't expect them to party for such a long time. There's so many different places to go. In Europe, what you do a lot is like you pre-drink in your house, for example, with your friends, or maybe you go to a certain bar and then you would go to a club, for example. In Korea, you have so many different kinds of places you can go to. So you go maybe for food and have some drinks there, then you go to like more of an anju place, so you still have a little bit of food, but it's more drinking. Then you go to a bar, the dancing bar, or norebang, or you have those like little arcades as well. So there are so many different things that you can do on a night out in Korea. I have already seen in videos that Korea is a very safe country. So that is something that is being told a lot in general. If I watched foreigners talk about their experiences in Korea, they always said how safe it was. So I kind of knew already coming to Korea that I don't have to worry about these things as much. Once I came to Korea, I realized that it's really true, because I still had like my old habits of like grabbing onto my purse really tightly when I'm walking and stuff like that. But then I would see like all these Korean people carrying, their fancy phones or their fancy bags, and being completely drunk and things like that. So you could see that they're very carefree about these things, because it's not an issue they have to think about, which, living here now for a couple of years, made me appreciate it so much more, because I can just be comfortable carrying around anything. So if I would be as relaxed about leaving my stuff around as I am in Korea, those things would disappear in Europe. It depends, of course, from country to country, because some have a bit of a higher crime rate. But I know that, for example, like I said, in Spain, if I would leave my stuff, that would be gone in like a millisecond. It's not even like a couple of minutes, it would be gone in 30 seconds. I've heard it's not just tourists or foreigners that get robbed in Spain, for example, it's also Spanish people themselves. I've heard people who were ordering something at McDonald's and they put their phone on the McDonald's counter whilst they were ordering, and by the time they looked down, their phone was gone. So things like that are literally crazy. I've had also a Korean friend in Italy get their phone stolen in the metro. So those things happen a lot. When it comes to safety, I think it's very easy for foreigners to travel to Korea and also like get used to living and feeling safe in Korea. So I think that's definitely one of the advantages of living in Korea. I think Korea is very, very safe when it comes to like walking around at night. That is definitely something that is different from certain European countries, because it depends where you go, of course, but I have had a lot of experiences in my life where I was catcalled on the street. Even ever since I was a teenage girl, there were people who would, like shout after me or make noises or be like, making kissy noises or things like that that would make me feel very unsafe as a woman. And those things don't really happen in Korea, right? There's no catcalling. So that is something that is, making me feel very, very at ease, because I can walk around and, still get dressed up in a nice outfit at night and still not have to listen to animal noises from men and feel uncomfortable, right? So Korea doesn't have a lot of petty theft at all, right? Like you can leave your stuff anywhere you want and you can leave your computer at a cafe and nobody's gonna touch it. I think one of the being able to just leave your stuff anywhere and be sure that nobody is gonna take it from you or steal it is such an advantage of living in Korea. Because for example, when I moved to Spain for a year, I did a study abroad there, and within the first week I got robbed twice. So going to parks at night in Korea is such a fun experience because it's very much a social activity in Korea. So lots of people would go, for example, to Han River, to the Hangang Park, and just put up their little tents and like have a little picnic or like eat their chicken, their fried chicken with beer, and like play games with their friends. So it's a very friendly and like safe atmosphere. So people go to parks to enjoy themselves and to socialize and have a good time with friends or with their partner, for example. Whereas in Europe, a lot of parks would be closed at night because there would be issues of drugs, there would be issues of maybe crime, and it could be potentially dangerous. So parks are usually also kind of designated for children, and you wouldn't want those parks to be open at night. These kinds of the colored roads can help psychologically make people feel more safe since there are many different colors. The lights, yeah, I can see how, that can deter from a potential criminal doing something bad because they don't want the extra attention, right? It's not the right place to attack someone, for example. So I think that's a very good initiative. As soon as you press the button, the service providers will know exactly where you are. So I think that is a really, really good initiative. Police, already calling the police is so quick. Like the other day I saw a person like in front of my house. I thought that person fainted or something. They were like lying in a very strange position, like on a downhill. I was worried that person might be dead, but I think they just overdrank or something. But when I called the police, the emergency ambulance came in less than 10 minutes, maybe in 5 minutes. So I was really, really impressed. And if that button can be even quicker, wow, Korea is really impressive when it comes to these things. My goals for Korea are that I still want to continue learning Korean as much as possible until I become completely fluent in it. And I would love to continue experiencing this wonderful country and everything it has to offer. I would like to become sort of like a cultural ambassador for, Serbia and Austria, and be able to share my love for Korean culture to people abroad. So these are things that I would love to do. I hope that I will be able to create many more amazing memories in Korea, and I hope that you can follow me along this journey together. 오늘은 한국의 밤 문화에 대해 말했습니다. 영상이 좋았다면 좋아요, 구독 눌러주세요. 바이!